How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. We're in the middle of the pre-show for WWE Money in the Bank. The show is kicking off. Main show's kicking off in exactly 1 hour, right when the show goes off the air. It is the annual Money in the Bank show. We got two Money in the Bank ladder matches on the show tonight, a women's match and a men's match. We go over all of the matches here on the show today. We'll run down the full card for you and talk about some predictions. The odds are out there, not that that means a whole lot, and so much more. So that'll be a main topic of conversation here today. And also, obviously, the update on Ric Flair. Talked about this a little bit on the Friday show. But according to his wife's Instagram account, Ric Flair's surgery has been postponed until Monday due to undisclosed medical complications. While the details on the surgery and the specific complications are still under wraps, Atlanta Fox 5's Will Nunnally reported Thursday a heart condition has plagued Flair for years and is likely causing the problems. He said the scheduled surgery, which was planned for Friday in Atlanta at one point, was a serious one. TMZ reported Friday Flair has had 4 heart surgeries over the past few months. His wife, Wendy Barlow, posted on Friday, Ric's surgery has been postponed until Monday to address some complications that needed to be taken care of first. Thanks for all the well wishes. So Ric Flair still in the hospital, and it is a heart procedure that he will be undergoing tomorrow if all goes well. And it had to be postponed from Friday, so there's no guarantee the surgery is going to happen tomorrow. Obviously, all the best to Ric Flair and his family. He is at this point still scheduled to appear at StarCast in Las Vegas on Friday for the roast of Ric Flair. My gut tells me he's not going to be there. Heart surgery on Monday. I just think it's very, very unlikely he's going to make it on Friday. So that's the update there. And we'll talk more about this after the break, as well as everything going on this past weekend. New matches for the Superstar Showdown, or I guess the Super Showdown, the next show in Saudi Arabia, and so much more. Back in a moment to kick it off. Wrestling Observer Live. Back on the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. We got a Money in the Bank pre-show happening right now, both on the WWE Network and here on this program, because we're doing our own pre-show. And we got a lot to talk about here on the program today.
I like ours better, although Charlie, I wish, was here a little bit.
Well, we got the coach. I'm sure this is compelling television here. And Charlie is there. And who else is on this panel here?
The tape trader.
Sam Roberts. Yeah, he is there. Yeah.
And David Otunga with his best role that he's ever had in WWE. He's got a great gig.
I have no idea why Sam Roberts is looking like Mark Twain. Second time now. It's like a gimmick he's got.
Well, the face is mostly made for radio. It's like mine. So.
I promise you that our Money in the Bank pre-show is better. And I'm saying that knowing that the first caller today is probably Ryan. You're on the air. What's going on?
My question is about the probability of Drew McIntyre possibly cashing in on Kofi Kingston or Mandy Rose going to Raw to cash in on Becky Lynch because of that wild card rule. Have they put
That's
any,
not how it works, dude. No, you can only cash in on your own brand. But once you are the champion, I mean, presumably, if you could be a wild card and go to the other brand.
Yeah, but that just doesn't make any sense to me because they said with the wild card rule, anything.
Do you watch this show, Ryan?
Yeah.
Okay, what does make sense to you? That's the question.
Well, it would just make sense and not to follow what they're saying to surprise you.
Well, I want to know what makes sense. Like, what are you watching and you go, you know what, that made sense? I can think of one, by the way. Can you think of one?
Probably Alexa Bliss's shoes being untied and her getting seriously hurt makes sense.
Oh yeah, I don't thank you very much.
If you're somebody's mom, I guess. Yeah.
I don't think she got seriously hurt because her shoes were untied. Although, come to think of it, she is off this show due to injury. And the last time I saw her wrestle, she wrestled with her shoes untied. So maybe there is something to it. Don't wrestle with your shoes untied, everybody. Got it?
Bump your head. Yeah.
All right. Got Money in the Bank here, and here
Before you go on,
you're killing me. Yes.
As a veteran of the mat wars and all of the chicanery and wackiness that would go on behind the scenes, did you ever do or have done to you the boot tie?
Somebody tie your ties boots together? No. Are you kidding me? I don't do BS in my matches.
No, I mean, not in the match, but like backstage, like, you hear the music, like, all right, who tied my boots together or something like that, that sort of thing.
I put my boots on like an hour before and I walk around. Like, how would someone tie my boots together? I think I just gotta sit there and someone's like hornswoggles underneath the bench tying my boots together while I'm waiting for my music to hit. You kidding me?
I hope they did
Who do you think I am?
Far more severe burns on you.
Never happened. All right, here's the card, everybody. We got Seth Rollins, AJ Styles for the Universal title. The over-under in the star ratings, because people actually bet on these, is 4.25, which I think it's probably going to be right around 4.25. I don't picture it being much higher. It's just going to be... I don't want to be a negative guy because 4.25 is awesome, but WWE matches are very, 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 very patterned. And the pattern usually brings you to a great match being about 4.25 stars. So I think that's what we're going to hit here. Rollins at minus 530 to win right now, which it notes here are strong odds. Yes, they are. What do you think's going to happen, Mike? Obviously, there's going to be one match here that it's different from the odds. Maybe more. And furthermore, forget that. Will there be a cash-in during this match?
No. There will be no cash-in. I think if there's going to be a cash-in, I think it'll be the women's match. I don't foresee any cash-in on this show. Now, also tomorrow, too, you do have the finals, I believe. Did they start tomorrow? No, is it the NHL tomorrow? I believe it's the NHL tomorrow, so it won't matter so much. I wonder if they wait on doing any sort of cash-in until either Raw or SmackDown, especially Raw shaping up against the NBA playoffs. I think that's, if they are considering using one or doing it, it would be around then.
All right, next up, we have got the Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens, WWE title. Over under 3.5. I think that's about where it's gonna fall. And logically, it's too early for Kingston to lose the title. Figures to be a good match. Dave has no odds for this match. That's really interesting, yeah. So I'm sure they're out there, but anyway, I don't expect Kofi Kingston to lose this match. I mean, I've given my and granted, they change their mind every day, so whatever I tell you here, it doesn't matter. But this was supposed to be Kofi Kingston, Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan was injured. They didn't know that if he was going to be ready for this show. And so they turned Kevin Owens heel and had him take Bryan's spot. Kofi then beat Bryan on TV, which tells me he was probably going to beat Bryan at this pay-per-view, which tells me that whoever replaced Bryan, he's going to beat at this pay-per-view. So my prediction is Kofi Kingston.
And it doesn't hurt Kevin Owens at all. I mean, I guess you can make a case that stops any momentum or whatever, but still, a heel losing, especially even clean, that might actually do more to benefit Kevin Owens and send him off on more of a tangent. So, yeah, I'll take Kofi Kingston there as well as Seth Rollins. I don't think I actually said it originally, too, but Seth Rollins in the Raw Universal title match as well.
Men's Money in the Bank match. Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, Corbin, Sami Zayn, Ali, Finn Balor, and Andrade. Over-under is 4 stars. Which I would say is probably low. This could be 4.25, 4.5 stars.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre remains the betting favorite to win, it says here, which very likely. Yeah, I can see him winning. I can see Ricochet winning. I could pretty much see Andrade, maybe.
Oh, let's be honest. You could see Corbin winning. It's just you don't want that to happen.
You know why I can't see Corbin winning? Because I know they're already doing Corbin versus Seth Rollins.
So
they don't need a Money in the Bank on top of that. So no. We're getting enough
pain. This match could be awesome. And even with Baron Corbin, dude, no matter what anybody thinks about Baron Corbin, when you look at the rest of the experience and the ability in that match, he should be a great base, and he's a very athletic guy. So, I mean, that's the one thing he's got going for him. So, yeah, I think 4 is actually
Do you want my prediction for this match? I'll tell you something I guarantee.
Okay.
I guarantee is going to happen tonight. You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
There will be a spot where everybody is laid out, and rising from the sea, like Godzilla, is Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin is going to climb, and there's going to be nobody around. And the place is going to boo like crazy. And he's going to get closer and closer, and he is seemingly for sure going to win. And Ricochet is going to fly in out of nowhere and thwart him and cause him to not get the briefcase. Mark my words, that spot will happen tonight.
And you know it'll be a lot safer spot than if Zelina Vega were to somehow fly in out of nowhere and take him off of that ladder. And I think if anybody walks away from this there's a lot of people I guess that could walk away with this briefcase, but I think it fits the gimmick and fits the act of Andrade the best because he doesn't need to cash it in right now. I think Zelina Vega walking around with it, with the whole spiel and adding that to the intro, I really think that would be the way I would go. I don't know if that's the way they're going to go, but that's the idea I like the best.
We have a women's Money in the Bank match. Natalya, Dana Brooke, Naomi, Nikki Cross, Bayley, Mandy, Ember, and Carmella over under 3.5. We'll see. Bayley is actually the favorite at this moment. Bayley at plus 100, ahead of Mandy Rose, who is at plus 250. So I guess last year Dave gave the women's Money in the Bank ladder match like 4 stars or something like that, and I went back and read my notes last night, and I hated that match. I thought it was a complete mess, and nothing looked good. So we'll see what he rates it and what everyone else rates it here tonight. We shall see.
Can't even remember that one. I don't know. With this is, Bayley, if she wins the briefcase, does she lose? She's the one that cashes in and loses. Mandy Rose, it fits very nice on. I don't know what direction they'll go with, but I'll just say, as a underdog, I'll take Ember Moon.
Becky Lynch, Lacey Evans, Raw Women's title. Over under 2.5 stars. We'll see about that. Lynch, a minus 460 favorite to win the match. And as far as Charlotte, over under 3.25, which might be low. And Flair, as of late, has had betting to make her the favorite at minus 115. Lynch had been favorite all week. Interesting. Back in a moment with more Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. I could hear people flipping their damn lids when I stated that right now a favorite in the Becky Lynch-Charlotte Flair match is Charlotte. That Charlotte could win the title from Becky here tonight. Now, a bunch of things. Number one. So, first off, they're doing this wild card deal. And so, Becky could always just be on both shows. Okay? Now, she is listed as a SmackDown superstar as we speak. And I thought that she was moving to Raw. Because the original idea was for her to move to Raw. Because Charlotte was going to be on SmackDown, she was going to be on Raw, they were going to keep them apart. Now, she's dating Seth Rollins, and so I believe that she will end up a Raw talent at some point, unless she's a wild card every single solitary week, or if she loses the title to Charlotte Flair, and she's a SmackDown superstar, that means she still holds the Raw title, so she can already go from show to show without having to be the wild card. So, if you're going to take one of the belts off of her, and you don't want to waste one of the wild cards on her every single solitary week, or just move her to Raw, then the easy thing to do is keep the Raw title on her and take the SmackDown title off of her. So now there's a SmackDown title in play on SmackDown, and Becky Lynch can also go from show to show because she's on SmackDown, but she holds the Raw title. Everybody confused yet? Excellent. Okay? Now, the other thing to consider here is that if you hate Charlotte Flair, and you're sick of her being the champion, it is Money in the Bank. So it is possible that they want to get the title on somebody else, but they don't want somebody else to beat Becky Lynch. In other words, because it's their 50-50 thing, it's possible, this is all just speculation, since Ronda's gone, and since Becky beat Charlotte at the March pay-per-view or whatever it was, Fastlane, and then she won both titles at WrestleMania. Now it's time for Charlotte to get something. Charlotte can beat Becky, and I guess get her win back or whatever, and then whoever wins Money in the Bank could cash in right then on Charlotte and take the title from Charlotte. So when the show is over, neither Becky nor Charlotte are the SmackDown champion. Becky can still go from show to show, and everything works out, except that Becky lost the title. That may happen today, but I don't know. I'm just looking at the odds here.
I got all confused there when you started going.
I don't blame you.
Scenarios.
And thank you for making this worse than the pre-show on the WWE Network, Mike.
Well, that's not true because I just saw Mr. Miz put up his dukes. Actually, you know what? That does make it better than this show when you got Mr. Miz putting up his dukes. But how about just, I say Becky defeats Lacey Evans. She does lose to Charlotte. She can go back to SmackDown with her belt. Now you have, I believe Lacey Evans is on Raw, so you can do Lacey and Charlotte or whatever you want to do there, fine. If they had some great, awesome storyline or some series of events that I would feel confident in, then I would love to see Becky hold on to both belts and bounce back and forth and defend the title in these epic encounters, but that's not what's going on. And like you mentioned, they have the wild card already anyway, so people can just show up on shows when they want. And these pay-per-views seem to be free-for-alls anyway, so I'm sure somebody could walk out the week before and make a match for a pay-per-view, a title match with somebody from the other brand. So who the hell cares about any of it? As long as they keep Becky strong and as long as the belt is relatively strong, that's really all anybody can be happy with, whether she's got one belt, two belts, or no belts, frankly.
That would ruin the Becky two-belts deal, so maybe they won't take the title off of her. Alistair here is confused. I don't blame him. He says Becky has always been a SmackDown superstar. She was the first woman ever to be. I'm aware of all of that. You're missing my point. They were going to draft her to Raw. The plan was she was going to move to Raw. Because the plan originally was Becky versus Charlotte at WrestleMania next year. And so they wanted to keep them apart for an entire year. So Becky was going to go to Raw, Charlotte was going to stay on SmackDown, they would be separated for a year, and then they would do the match. They changed their mind. They decided they have a bigger match for Becky. I have no idea what it is. It's not Ronda Rousey. I know that when I talked about this a few days ago, the immediate speculation was it must be Stephanie. I don't know if it's Stephanie. I have absolutely no idea who it is. But they changed their WrestleMania plan for Becky, and they decided they were going to do Becky and Charlotte now. So all of the original ideas of Becky going to Raw, that's all off the table. But she is dating Seth, and they went out of their way, which I guess we'll get to that later, but everybody was so mad when the Superstar Shakeup got switched allegedly for Charlotte. And now they're going to do whatever they can to keep Becky together with Seth Rollins. And I suspect I will not have 1,000 emails saying that Becky is a spoiled brat where they're changing all the plans to keep her with her boyfriend. But we'll see. All right, also here on this show, Shane McMahon versus The Miz in a cage match. Miz is favored. The over-under, 2.5. It's a cage match. I'm sure Shane will do something stupid. They are confined to a cage. Maybe they'll hit 2.5. I don't know. I'm not bullish on this match. Roman Reigns Elias. The over-under is 3 stars. Let me tell you something, everybody. I will... You know what I'll do for the video service subscribers? I will go over there and I will stand on my head and count to 10 on video during the show tomorrow if this match hits 3 stars. Got it? I don't think I can stand on my head on this chair I'm sitting on, but I'll go over there on the floor. I'll stand on my head for 10 seconds, live on air, if this match gets 3 stars. It ain't gonna. You hear me? All right. Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, U.S. title. 3.25 is the over-under. If they get more than 30 seconds, I'm confident they can hit that. Only a 1/4 star more than what is expected for Roman Reigns versus Elias. A match I have seen live and came nowhere near 3 stars as a main event. Tony Nese, Arya Daivari, 3 stars. By the way, have they had any pre-show matches yet?
Not yet.
So Arya Daivari and Tony Nese is on the main show right now?
Well, no. I mean, we still got a half hour.
Yeah, so they already have a pre-show match with Daniel Bryan.
Well, how long do these things really last for, though?
Well, I don't think they're going to cram 2 into 30 minutes. No, I think that's on the main show. I think Tony Nese and Arya Daivari is on the main show, and Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos is on the pre-show. What?
Hey, good.
That's got to change.
Good for the Cruiserweight title. I mean, this. Look at. I mean, Cedric
Mike,
Alexander.
the issue is nobody is watching.
Guys.
No one's watching 205 Live.
It's
going to get zero reaction.
But that I know. But if you wanted something hotter to lead into the pay-per-view to rile up the fans, then okay, then have that Cruiserweight title match. I don't want to, and I hate to say this, as a come down between the ladder match, wherever, however you want to play this. I think with the way, when you have two women's title matches, you have two with the same person, you have two Money in the Bank ladder matches. I think to have, the wacky, the really good Cruiserweight title match, I don't think that's that bad of an idea to have on the show. And the fact is, nobody is watching that. So there was a lot of work that Buddy Murphy and Cedric and Ali did that nobody had a chance to see. But when more people had a chance to see them, they tended to like them. So why not give these guys the opportunity? Is it going to work? Probably not. But I don't think it hurts to have this match on the pay-per-view one time.
I wouldn't be surprised, this person said, if they put Ali over in the men's Money in the Bank in order to give him a bump going into the Saudi show next month. Well, I don't think if he wins it'll have anything to do with Saudi Arabia, but they do have a brand new Ali documentary in the WWE Network. So the fact that they have that, I wouldn't be surprised if he won, but I don't think it's going to happen. You never know. What else do we have? Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus the Usos, non-title, for 3.25 stars. So probably the Usos win to set up a program, even though they lost 2 straight shows, including to the champions. But it's WWE, so don't think too much. I want to mention this. There was a WWE talent meeting earlier today headed by Stephanie McMahon. It was mostly the same rah-rah type speech they do from time to time. The only thing notable is that they directly addressed AEW as their competition. They were pushing the WWE brand hard, the same social media and YouTube stats they always talk about, with the idea of having 1 billion followers, adding up every form of social media for every performer related to the company, and then said they were having to compete with video games, movies, other streaming services, as well as now AEW, and giving this speech at no time have they ever mentioned a competing wrestling company. So, there you go. AEW, considered competition in a speech by Stephanie McMahon to the WWE locker room. And then she tries to talk to the wrestlers about how cool their social media numbers are. Are you kidding me? You making this up? Ridiculous. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, Brian. This is Chris in Cleveland, longtime listener, first-time caller. I know that after Money in the Bank and over the summer, they're advertising Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. What do you think about the idea of Corbin winning Money in the Bank and maybe cashing in to jumpstart that feud?
I think that is a horrific idea, my friend, but I could see them doing that. I don't think they're going to do that, but it is absolutely a possibility because they love to get heat. And what better way to get heat than to have Baron Corbin win Money in the Bank, cash in on Seth Rollins, become the Raw champion, and then those Seth Rollins-Baron Corbin matches are actually Seth challenging Baron Corbin and not the other way around. Anything's possible. Thank you for bringing it up. Maybe now it won't happen.
I can't believe people bring signs that say, I love GMO. It's to get Daniel under Daniel Bryan's skin. Amazing.
Back in a moment with more Wrestling Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also WrestlingObserver.com. The Usos versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan is taking place right now on the pre-show here for WWE Money in the Bank. And it is a non-title match, because why should the Usos deserve a championship match since they lost to this team 2 weeks ago? And then on Tuesday, they got beaten by Shane McMahon, of all people. Not even making this up. So yeah, that's the deal there. Let's go to the phone, see what's going on. You're on the air. What's up?
Oh, hey, this is number one Paul in Barbersville, and just as a little palate cleanser, I'm going to ask you a couple of non-WWE questions.
Oh, I can't wait.
The first one is regarding AEW. Do we have an update as to why Pac and Hangman Page is off the pay-per-view? Did Pac not want a job, or did Dragon Gate put their foot down?
Well, here's the long and short of it. Okay, so it had nothing to do with Pac not wanting to do a job, because I don't think he was going to do a job on Saturday. But the issue was He's the Dragon Gate champion, and AEW wanted to do some long-term booking with him. And in order to do long-term booking with him, they had some matches that down the road he was going to lose. And it was not the match this coming Saturday. He was supposed to win this Saturday. But they wanted him to win to set up him losing to someone else down the road. So they figured that by the time we do this show where he needs to lose, he won't be the champion. And apparently Dragon Gate decided he's going to be the champion and we have no end date. Doesn't mean he's going to be champion forever, but like there is no end date when he's not going to be champion. And so if he can't do jobs at AEW until he's no longer champion, then the whole deal was, well, we can't do the match unless we want to do some sort of goofy finish or do whatever, which they didn't want to do. And so they did the match somewhere else with a goofy finish, and he's just off the show and he's out of AEW for the foreseeable future.
But why?
Hey.
Well, hold on.
Why is... Well, hold on. Paul, sorry. Big here, hold on. Why is he out completely? Why are they not just doing then a showcase match with Pac on the show? Is he doing a showcase match on the show? And if not...
He's not on the show at all.
And so he's out of, is he out of AEW for all intents and purposes then until he drops the title? I think
he's out until he drops the title.
So then he could essentially be out of AEW for a year if Dragon Gate goes, no.
Yes.
We're...
Yes.
Ooh.
So apparently the whole idea is they're running their first official pay-per-view. And they're not counting All In, because that was like the Ring of Honor AEW show or whatever you want to call it. This is the first official AEW show.
The prequel.
And all they've done is they've talked about how we want wins and losses to matter, and we want to give people winners and losers. And they felt, yes, we could find a way around this on the pay-per-view. We could do a disqualification. We could do a blood stoppage. We could do a count-out. We could do any of a million things. But every one of those sucks. So it's easier to just not do the match. And so they're not going to do the match.
Hey, Paul, do you find it weird or refreshing or somewhere in the middle that a company has essentially come out to say, we're not doing the match because of our later booking down the line that you have nothing to know about? I mean, this is a very unique way that they've gone about, this whole thing where it's, they're kind of explaining why, even though I don't know if they necessarily needed to explain why. You know what I mean? I don't know if that raises more questions or not. But as somebody watching from the outside, what do you think about this decision?
Well, I don't understand why they can't just move the match he's supposed to lose down the line. Just keep pairing him with guys he can beat, and if it's August or December or whenever it's time for him to lose, he can lose then.
They could do that. But their issue was, we don't even know when that's going to be. You said August or September, but Dragon Gate could keep that title on him for 2 years for all we know. So there's no end date. So at that point, it's like, well, if there's no end date, and he's just
and
he's going to have to win on every single show over everybody and never lose. I mean, who knows how long that would have to last?
And I'm sure they can make a deal with somebody else too. But I mean, the OEW guys and Shima are over there, and I get that's I guess could be a sticking point too. I guess if you want to have Pac to have a showcase Dragon Gate title match every time AEW has a show, then you're running into other logistical problems and other headaches.
The point is that match is off. But they believe they have found a somewhat suitable replacement. I believe Dave may have even said they feel it's a better replacement. We'll see.
Marco Stunt.
Hangman Page will have a match on the show on Saturday. I don't think it's Marco Stunt.
Okay. Now, the other thing I was curious about is Impact. They're no longer TNA, but they had an Only in TNA moment.
Yes.
On Friday.
Yes.
Where their show on the Pursuit channel, it ended mid-match. They went to a commercial break and then with 24 minutes to go, and it never came back.
Well, I will say this in all fairness to TNA. They simulcast on Twitch, and the whole show aired. So it wasn't a problem on Impact's part. It was a problem on the part of Pursuit. So unfortunately, it affected Impact, which has been snake bit since 2002. But this one, actually, I don't think was Impact's fault.
Well, that's probably the case. But, I mean, AEW just got their TV deal. WWE just signed one of the biggest TV deals in company history. And Impact has got to get off Pursuit. They got to get on a real channel. I mean, 7,000 people are watching them a week on Twitch. They're dying on the vine, and this just seems like the worst possible time for this kind of mix-up to happen.
It is. But you know what? I mean, this is just one of those examples of it's all just time and place and circumstance. And as much as we like to make fun of social media numbers, because in 99% of the cases it doesn't mean a thing, there are times when it does mean something. And I've mentioned this before, like, is my life any different? I don't even know how many followers I have, but it's a lot. But is my actual real life any different now that I have 84,000 followers than when I had 0 followers? I mean, not really. And if it is, it has nothing to do with going from 0 to 85,000, okay? But is it possible that I could have opportunities come my way because somebody else sees 85,000 followers and thinks, my God, what can we do with somebody that has 85,000? Of course. Yes, that absolutely could happen. So the point of this is, whatever you think about 250,000 YouTube viewers for being the elite, or whatever you think about 500,000 shirts sold at Hot Topic, or whatever you think about All In selling out, I mean, that's why they got a deal worth probably $30 million annually from TNT, and that's why Impact is stuck on Pursuit. Impact doesn't have those numbers. Impact doesn't have T-shirt sales and house shows that sell out and all of that. I mean, the problem is they don't have that because they don't have the platform to do those numbers, but somehow the AEW guys figured out how to do that, and they got a deal out of it. So it's going to be very difficult it's a chicken and egg thing for Impact. I mean, how do they get their numbers up without TV? Well, I don't know. And without TV, it's going to be hard, and they need to get those numbers up to get better TV. So it's just a tricky situation. This place is going nuts for this match, by the way.
As well, they
and
should,
right in the middle of the Usos comeback, they just put a giant 3/4 of the screen was filled up with an ad for the Becky match.
Well,
that's weird. What a terrible time. You had an hour pre-show and you had to do it in the middle of the comeback?
Well, I guess because it's the 10-minute mark before we hit the pay-per-view or something. Who the hell knows? But yeah, it's
all those people watching the network that don't have the network.
See, I knew you were going to say that. There's got to be. I'd love to know the YouTube numbers. And I guess technically, is there still a barker for the pay-per-views for the 5 people that are still watching a traditional pay-per-view? I assume that's why they did it. But yeah, it's the timing of all of that stuff usually stinks. But yeah, I mean, it's the Usos and Daniel Bryan, and Rowan has not gotten in the way at all. No offense to Rowan. So yeah, this has been fantastic.
This person here says, "Stop making bets you don't pay off." Oh, get out of here! I know who that is.
That's Tim in Miami, wasn't it?
Says they won't put the title on Charlotte until Ric's health situation is under control. Possible. That is possible, but I don't know for sure. She is the favorite now.
And I don't know if one's really got anything to do with the other, too. I mean, if something were to happen, then, maybe, they do things like that, but I don't, and the Usos just won the tag titles, by the way.
I mean, I don't want to talk about bad things happening to Ric Flair, but, I mean, the reality is, bad things have happened to family members of a lot of people in WWE, and they'll often miss a show. But I mean, they're back to work pretty quick. I mean, as a rule, and hopefully nothing bad will happen to Ric Flair tomorrow. Let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's up?
Hey, Brian. How's it going this evening?
What's happening?
Congratulations.
Looks like the Usos just won that match.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not watching the pre-show. I'm waiting for the main show to start. Something wild I was thinking about. He's talking about the women's match between Becky and Charlotte. What about have Charlotte win it and then Shayna Baszler come in there and beat her for the title?
You could do that, but they're already... I mean, actually, I was going to say something, but I don't even know why I was going to say it. I was going to say that Shayna's already advertised for the next takeover, but that doesn't matter. If Vince wants anybody, he will pull them up immediately. I don't see him pulling up Shayna Baszler tonight, but anything is possible.
I just wanted to congratulate you on the upcoming birth of your second little girl.
That's right. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it. Coming up in September. Very excited.
Yeah. what are you going to do one day she gets about 16 years old and say, Dad, I want to wrestle?
She's not going to know what wrestling is, Jim.
Oh, yeah?
She won't even know what it is.
How did Daddy hustle all that money?
Kids don't know what their parents do for a living.
What are you going to say, the belts were for jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, of course.
The Texarkana
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, it's the
jiu-jitsu
Texarkana Jiu-Jitsu Television Championship. Yeah, of course. Why is that so funny?
It's not. You just picked up the belt, didn't you?
Nah, belt's over there in that case.
Okay. Thought you might have been wearing them.
I don't wear the belt on the air. Are you kidding me?
Well, Filthy Tom be wearing his belt on the air when he stops by your house afterwards.
He's not stopping by. He's going right to the airport.
Yeah, but how well has that ever worked out for him?
This ain't much of a scoop, everybody, but the women's match is opening. The women's Money in the Bank. So we're going to find out here very quickly if this is another 4-star match, according to Big Dave, or if, in fact, it's not, which is what I'm thinking. But we'll see. All right, this person writes, this panel of geeks is everything that's wrong with WWE. Well, there's a lot of things wrong with WWE. The panel of geeks does not help.
No, but it's not even anywhere near any issue that they have at all. So, no.
Person says, Daniel Bryan lost on the pre-show. The man was WWE champion last month. Why couldn't Rowan take the pin? Well, they probably wanted to get the Usos over as pinning somebody. I don't know.
And they're trying their best with Rowan, too, to have him in a position of strength. Does this loss to the Usos hurt Daniel Bryan? Oh, no. I mean, he's Daniel Bryan. I mean, anything you can do to make Rowan look better, including him getting the win for the tag team titles. I mean, again, you can say what you want about him, but you'd want to try to protect him far more than anybody else.
Yeah, listen, Rowan needs all the help he's going to get. It's not hurting Daniel Bryan.
No.
Like, everybody who looks at Rowan and Daniel Bryan as a team, they automatically think Rowan's the weak link. Rowan's the weak link. Well, make him not the weak link. Have Daniel Bryan do a job here and there. It doesn't matter. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. This person says, why isn't the women's Money in the Bank a designer handbag? It's all about equality. The men have a briefcase, the women have a briefcase.
Well, actually, look, if there's ever a time where, tonight is a big night, as Dave and you talked about last night. It really is a big night for Lacey Evans. And if she ever wins Money in the Bank down the line, with her love of handbags and ladylike old-time things, you may see something like that. Didn't Sandow or somebody have a satchel or something like that?
Might have. My guarantee for Money in the Bank, Baron Corbin will somehow do a chin lock in spite of it being an 8-person tag match. Well, we'll see about that. I actually don't expect a Baron Corbin chin lock in this match. I think it's actually impossible. Don't know how it came across on TV, but the crowd sounded super hot live. It looks super hot on TV. I have the sound down, though, so hopefully it is a great crowd. Boring crowds at WWE shows are brutal. I want a hot crowd here tonight. And this person says, is Brock there tonight? If yes, I can see him interfering in Seth versus AJ to set up the match with Rollins at Saudi Arabia. I've heard nothing about Brock being there. I know Big E is there, but I've heard nothing about Brock being there. And this person says, I think Becky versus Lacey Evans should open the show to make Becky look strong before losing to Flair later in the night or losing via cash-in. Well, that's not going to happen. Women's Money in the Bank ladder match is opening. It's starting up here in just a few minutes. And we're going to cover it here at WrestlingObserver.com. Check us out later on tonight. I'll be doing a show, 2 shows actually. One with producer Rob, one with Dave, both covering Money in the Bank.
Producer Rob.
Yes, Vinny's gone here tonight. And a lot of other great stuff as well. We're here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. Talk to you again next time, Wrestling Observer Live.